Hi everyone, this is Steve, the Amazing here, technically world famous magician, mind reader, and all around guy that does impossible things. I'm here to review Penguin Magic live lecture of Peter Turner, his second lecture. I believe this is coming out July 17th. Now, I got to see this live. For those of you who don't know about the Penguin lectures, they're now recorded on a Wednesday. They usually do a live show on the Tuesday prior to it. They intersperse the two of those. They put some of the live show elements into the lecture, and then they air it at a later date on the normal Sunday, as if it were live, essentially. With that said, this lecture went on for 5 hours. It was the very next day when we ended. My day started around 2 o'clock driving there, and I got back home the next day, 6 in the morning. So, with that said, a lot of stuff goes on in this lecture. The ad copy is very, very legit. If you watch the trailer video, it's everything they say in it. Pete goes through it, pretty much every aspect of mentalism. He starts off with an interview with Dan. It's not something I've commonly seen done, and then they move on to doing the full lecture, which he goes through a couple of full effects, and along with that, it's kind of classic Peter Turner kind of twists and turns in all kinds of different areas, whatever kind of strikes his fancy in the moment, as well as whatever he gets from the audience as well. And then it ends again with another interview segment, and I think maybe he even does some more after that. It was 5 hours. I can't remember all of it. He starts off with some reading material, but he doesn't go into readings too much. I think he covered that for the most part in the first lecture, as well as covering pre-show in the first lecture. A lot of people, I think, got the mistaken impression from the first lecture that everything he does is pre-show. That's definitely not the case. I think he was trying to present sort of a theme to that first one of pre-show and adding story elements to your routines and trying to make your routines better than just pick a card, put it back, I found your card, or think of a person's name, it's I see a V and it's Steve, right? So trying to add more. That was what the first lecture was about. This second lecture is a lot more about, I think Pete came in with a very loose idea. Not to say that he wasn't prepared. I think he was very well prepared. I think that he just came in more wanting the audience to control where the lecture went. And he was confident enough in his material to be able to go whichever direction the audience wanted to go. So he had a few things that seemed like he knew, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then everything to get in between felt a lot more like, let's go, what do you guys want to do, kind of thing. There's not really any dead time. At the live lecture, Pete even said that he was going to take a lot of breaks, that he'd been really busy lately and wasn't feeling well. He was going to take a lot of breaks to just be able to kind of cool off and get a drink and everything, and he ended up never doing that. It was 5 straight hours. It was ridiculous. As far as effects go, full start to finish effects, there is an effect that I believe it's called Fate Can, like Fate, C-A-A-N, for a Fate version of any card at any number. I believe that thing sells for about $20 on its own, and that's included in the lecture, and it was amazing. I'm kind of kicking myself for not having purchased it before, but I'm glad I got to see it now. Along with that, he does some instant inductions, a couple of cool hypnotic things of lift, as you see in the trailer, as well as the, I can't remember the actual name for it, but the Jedi Mind Push, basically. Darren did it in like 2 of his shows. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, so a lot of cool stuff like that. A lot of things that I wanted to see. I've read about in books. I've read about in things that he's written, and getting to see them perform live is a huge boost. And it really helps. I think the best way to learn in magic is a combination of reading and seeing. I think those are the ways to go, really. I don't think that you should do one or the other. Yeah, so really, bang for your buck, just seeing this stuff performed live is plenty enough reason to pick up the lecture for $20, $25, $30, even if you have all of the other, a lot of the other Peter Turner releases. I've seen a lot of the other lectures. I've seen some of these things before. I've seen him perform some of them before. The Toxic Principle and even the, what is it, IPI, I can't remember what it's called, but the instant trance, instant induction, and things like that. Seeing those, I've read those before. I own them. I've purchased them and everything, but still seeing them live was fantastic. 5 hours, like there's so much stuff. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of things that I can't even remember from the lecture, and because of that, and really that's a current method. That's a method that's gotten really popular. Again, Kenton started that with Wonder Words. But just words can just kind of evaporate and disappear. Visuals are really easy to hold on to. And so for that reason alone, I'm going to be buying the lecture myself. And if that tells you anything, I mean, it's definitely a good lecture. Definitely one to pick up if you're interested in mentalism and kind of advancing that, or storytelling, or just seeing like impossible things performed is great. Or if you're a fan of Pete's, which is the other thing. I know some people, and then I'm not going to lie, I was one of them. Some people have at times wondered how much does Peter Turner perform to regular audiences, and how much, so I think that question gets answered by seeing him perform live. There was a 20-minute set where he literally just riffed off the top of his head, and it's better than most people's scripted, fully formed routines. Not to say that it just felt very jazzed. It felt very off the cuff. However, I'm sure it's because he's done these things so many times. He's done these effects, these principles so much that he's able to just kind of go off on it. And I'm sure you've got plenty of routines like that yourself. But it's really cool to just see him just go for it for 20 minutes. And that really lets you know what kind of material he likes, what kind of ways he uses outs, and as well as what kind of things does he do enough that he can rely on. What kind of methods does he really fall back on? Because when you riff for 20 minutes, you're going to be going with the stuff that you know the most. And again, it was amazing. It was awesome to see. A lot of any card, any number stuff along those lines, and couple of things of psychological forces that were amazing, guessing people's cards, pin reveals, all kinds of other things. This lecture, there's no pre-show at all. I was even waiting for it. I was hoping, I wanted to be pre-showed. I got there early. I was like, please pre-show me. He did perform a couple of things for people before, but it was just to pass the time because I was waiting and watching. And even without any pre-show things, he was still able to reveal zodiac signs and cell phone pins and all of that kind of stuff. I brought 2 non-magicians with me to the lecture, and other than having to sit there 5 hours, they really enjoyed it. My one friend now wants to go out and hypnotize people to have their hand go up and down off of tables. She's really excited about it. So with that said, can't really recommend this enough. I'll probably even be watching it live with you guys that day. If you have any questions about any of the other specific stuff that happened during it, or any kind of clarification that you want from the video, from my review here, send me a comment or find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Steve the Amazing with no spaces. I'm sure you know how Facebook works by now. Now, I'll be back with another review soon. Very likely a review of Fraser Parker's Rose name, word, zodiac sign, etc. divination effect. I've been reading through that for a while, and I want to perform it a couple of times before I give it a review. Thanks for checking this out, and see you guys again soon.